This is the Everyday AI Show, the everyday podcast where we simplify AI and bring its power to your fingertips. Listen daily for practical advice to boost your career, business, and everyday life.
I'm not going to lie. At this very minute, on one of my other computers, I have a couple AI assistants doing work for me. And at some point, I'm going to go in and check back in on them and maybe give them some new directives. And you can understand the benefit of that. I'm one person. I can't do these things 24/7. But there's also a downside, because as these AI assistants and agentic AI become more available, more powerful, and more robust, there's also maybe an ugly downside on what people can be using these AI assistants for. And not only that, but what about your company? What if now, all of a sudden, maybe you were limited in your customer experience journey, customer support, providing that support at a certain time, but now it might be 24/7, and happy customers maybe aren't going to reach out to you as much as maybe disgruntled ones. And now they have new means with AI assistants. So today we're going to be talking about a fun topic, I think, to prepare for 2026 and beyond, just the rise of AI assistants and the undeniable upside and the sometimes ugly downside. I'm excited for today's conversation. I hope you are too. Welcome to Everyday AI. My name's Jordan Wilson. If you're new here, this is your daily live stream podcast and free daily newsletter helping everyday business leaders like you and me make sense of the AI noise, because it's changing every day. This show helps you make sense of it to grow your company and your career. So if that's what you're trying to do, it starts here with the unedited, unscripted live stream podcast. But to take it to the next level, make sure you go to our website at youreverydayai.com. We're going to be recapping the highlights from today's show, as well as keeping you up to date with all of the other AI news that you need to know. All right. You don't got to listen to me anymore. We have a great guest for you today. I'm excited for today's conversation. It's going to be a fun one. So live stream audience, if you could, please help me welcome to the show, Chris Caldwell, the president and CEO of Concentrix. Chris, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you very much, Jordan. I'm excited to be here.
All right. This is going to be a fun one, talking about kind of this duality of AI agents and AI assistants. But before we get started, I'm sure many people in our audience have heard of Concentrix, but maybe for those that haven't, Chris, tell everyone what it is that you all do, and maybe even specifically on the AI side, because you have a lot going on there as well.
Absolutely, Jordan. I'd actually be surprised if too many people know of us, but most people have interacted with us. We're sort of the brand behind the brand. We support customer experiences for around 2,000 clients around the world. We handle literally billions of transactions, whether it be calls, emails, chats, for some of the world's best brands across multiple different verticals. And so customer experience is what we think about each and every day. And as you can imagine, AI is changing this world dramatically for us. More people want things automated in a fashion. More people want everything being digital. People think that it'll drive down volumes. People think it'll drive better customer engagement. And so we're in the middle of all that and investing heavily in everything from fully automated AI multimodal bots to sort of AI that helps a human be much better prepared and much more efficient when they're interacting with another human. So it's a very exciting time for us.
So, smarter bots, right? Like if someone has, customer service on their website, that's not new, right? That was pre-Gen AI. But, I'm curious, not just asking you how the customer journey experience has changed with large language models, but maybe specifically agentic AI. How has that changed? Not just what's possible for maybe brands to provide on the customer journey, customer experience side, but also the flip side, right? The ugly. Talk to us a little bit about how agentic AI has really impacted the customer journey.
Well, it's interesting. On the client side, if you think about it, agentic AI is being used to really target tech deficit, where, if you think about RPA or you think about some of the things like that, of like, hey, I need to go to this system to pull all the information together to deliver a better customer experience. You can now do that with agentic AI. So it's solving a lot of more complex problems and is driving better resolutions for customers a lot faster. Very, very cool. Now, what's exciting is that on the consumer side, it's really empowering consumers to have a lot more power than ever before. Just like you mentioned, you've got some agentic AI bots running on your system and doing work that you're not even interacting with. Now think about that, of how you want to interact with brands, how you want to do your shopping, how you want to complain. All of a sudden, instead of there being one Jordan, there can be 100 Jordans all having that interaction. And brands need to think about this and think about how to interact with consumers differently, because they're going to have so much more power because of agentic AI.
Mm. What are maybe some of the kind of use cases that pop out, right? Like I'm thinking of them, right? And maybe our audience is as well. But what would you say? And maybe let's start on the positive side. And you kind of alluded to it there, but with AI assistants in general, right? Right.
Wow.
What are the new use cases or the new benefits that companies need to be focusing on?
I'll give you a great use case that has positives for both sides. So think of you're a bank. Think about your marketing mortgages. Traditionally, you have to market very heavily to get people to kind of apply for a mortgage with you, and generally they're consumers of your bank. Now, with consumers who have agentic AI, they also have historically maybe only applied for one or two companies or banks for a mortgage because it takes a long time. There's a lot of paperwork to fill out and everything like that. Can you imagine, Jordan, if now with your agentic AI bot, you can say, I want to apply to 100 banks and I want them to bid against each other, and I'm going to give them all the information. I'm going to answer all their questions about me, and then I'm just going to have an answer about which bank I can do it. First of all, there's a lot more volume of transactions for banks to now bid on. That's great for them. But for the consumer, it now gives them the power that they could never possibly do to kind of see all the different rates that are out there and pick the mortgage that they want to deal with. Quite a different type of buying demographic, buying environment than what you've ever seen, really being driven by people who can use these agentic AI bots.
And Chris, I can't help but to think of the downside as well, right? Not just, hey, a company now might, if they have a disgruntled customer employee, that person may be using agentic AI to, hit them up for support on more channels. But I mean, even thinking about things like deepfakes, right? Voice cloning, which anyone can do for anyone, right? In 5 seconds, anyone can go out there and clone my voice, clone your voice, and now all of a sudden have us calling anyone, right? Can you talk a little bit about maybe some of the downsides of this technology and also the capabilities?
Yeah, you're absolutely seeing that. So what we're seeing in specifically cybersecurity is where some of these bots, now to your point, deepfake, can call in and say, hey, I've lost my password. I'm Jordan. Here's my credentials, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And someone who might know you might go, okay, that's great. Thank you very much. I recognize your voice. Here's your new credentials. And so we're starting to see a rise of sort of some of those unsavory areas around using these bots and using agentics to kind of drive that. Also, if you think about just kind of logging into your websites of people who haven't secured their personal digital assistants and someone taking over it, and it's you. And so it's almost like a puppet now. Someone has taken over you and can now get to anywhere that you could have gotten to with your credentials and your security to do that. So we're seeing some of that that's happening. We're also seeing, to your point, where a consumer who, might have bought something, it might be worth $8, something relatively de minimis, and it didn't work. And they kind of go, I don't have time to call. The company's hours are 9 to 5. They want to wait for an hour online. I'm just going to give up. Now, with your personal digital assistant, can you imagine? You can say, call this company every 15 minutes until I get through to someone. And by the way, I'm not only going to call it once, I'm going to have 10 of my bots calling them. And if I can't get through, I'm going to go on the web and I'm going to find out all the executives of this company. And then I'm going to email them asking for my $8. That's challenging to say the least, right? So you suddenly get all these new kind of volumes of going through and more power on the consumer. And then lastly, what we're starting to see already in the healthcare field is that if someone was working with their HMO and saying, hey, I think I should get this surgery or this procedure, oftentimes they might get a no. And you'd send a complaint letter saying, I believe I should get this. Now what we're seeing is consumers who can use some of the research bots, can use some of the agentic bots, sending in these complaint letters or citing, multiple different cases of where surgery has been done, where it's been working, what the procedure should be, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Far more educated because they can get access to all of this and deliver it. And companies have to respond to this. They simply can't respond. And the higher level of question requires a higher level of answer.
Mm. I know from personal experience, right? I'm getting way more just, AI slop, right? AI slop of all kinds, hitting my
Absolutely.
inbox, my text messages, everything. Has this become, a big enough problem for companies yet, where they have to like, oh, okay, we can't do our same customer service strategy, our same customer, experience that we've been doing for years because now we're getting personalized, uh, y- y- you know, um, uh, complaints from all these different channels. Is it that big of a problem yet?
It's not that big of a problem yet, but it's starting. We're starting to see it in a lot of the areas where it's starting to grow. And if you think about how many consumers are really using personal digital assistants as well as they possibly can, it's still relatively small, right? It's not driving a lot of volume. But as we see with most things with AI, once the adoption curve like really starts to ramp up, we expect it to go huge volumes very, very dramatically increase. And the analysts are sort of saying, mid 2026, early 2027, this is really where the power of these digital personal assistants are going to kick in. And if you look at the new models that are coming out, you can see them just getting better and better and easier to use to drive it. And so we do expect it to come. What it is starting to get these kind of clients thinking about is, okay, how do we deal with this? And by the way, this is not a big company problem. This can also be a small SMB problem. The reality is, if you've got a barbershop and you're used to kind of, having one or two calls a day while you're cutting hair, all of a sudden you're now dealing with a lot more because more people have an ability to contact you and interact with you than you've ever had before. And how are you going to manage that? And how are you going to do that? And how are you going to check your appointments, et cetera? So it really has quite a profound impact no matter where you are in size of business.
Is there an answer for what happens when, right? So yeah, what does happen when, whether that's mid 2026 or early 2027, or Chris, if we're having the same conversation at this time next year, what should companies be looking at maybe to handle on the ugly side of, yeah, maybe a disgruntled, if someone's in healthcare and yeah, their surgery gets denied, but now all of a sudden their entire board is getting phone calls, AI powered, messages and DMs on LinkedIn. What should companies be doing now to prepare for when this does happen?
It's about having the right strategy, Jordan. It's about really understanding, okay, how are they going to engage the customers? It's about understanding where they can support the channels and the volume and putting the technology in place. So it's kind of like this arms race. They have to equip themselves with the AI. They have to equip themselves with the Agentics, make sure that they've got the right LLM model training and tuning so that they can handle this volume that is coming in and that it is accurate. We've already seen companies go out there producing some pretty wild answers that get picked up on the news. And that's the last thing that you want, right? And so by making sure that you're getting the right information, right tuning, you're going to get rid of that. The second thing is turning it into really a way of selling more services. If you're doing a better job, if you can connect with these personal digital assistants and push information that's relevant back to you. So Jordan, you're complaining about something. It's calling, the company. The company realizes you've got a personal digital assistant. Says, that's great, Jordan. I'll take care of that. But by the way, I also noticed that these three things you're also interested in. Maybe you'd like to exchange for that. Maybe you'd like to buy something like that. And so really kind of driving these digital relationships, I think, are going to be very, very key. And companies who master it will be incredibly successful.
Mm. One thing that I'm always kind of thinking about is this intersection of human agency transfer with transformational AI technology that we don't even understand, right? I think that people are just now getting comfortable with giving agents true agency, right? And true decision-making ability, right? But whereas before it was all about, oh, I'm talking to a chatbot, it comes back, it gives me the answer, and then I make a decision. Well, now these front end LLMs can go and make decisions. They can go complete tasks. They have access to our data, right? You can connect them to, marketing platforms like Zapier, and then they can go do anything. What is it a problem, right? Like, is it almost maybe too much power too quickly for us humans? And yeah, maybe I think it might be a bad thing if I go have 100 Jordans, like you said earlier, Chris. If I give 100 Jordans access to go do anything, it might turn out poorly. Are we ready for it?
Well, that's a great question. And there's a couple of research papers out about this around companion AI or delegated AI. And what's super interesting is that in Asia, where we spend a lot of time, a lot of business, was actually in China not that long ago, they love companion AI. They love that where it just goes off and makes decisions and drives it. And it's telling you, hey, I've done this. Versus what we see in North America and Europe is people want delegated AI, is to say, go and do this task, come back to me, and then I'll make the decision about do I want you to complete that task. And that is a very, very big difference, probably more culturally than anything else, that we're seeing out there in that space. And depending on how companies react to that, will change it. I do think, to your point, having 100 Jordans, no offense, probably not the best thing, right?
I agree.
You're going to spend more time trying to manage your 100 Jordans than actually getting the productivity benefit. But we do think people are going to have 2 or 3. You might have one that deals with your e-commerce shopping because it knows what you like, it knows your style, it knows your places you like to go, and it looks and is looking for sales that you have set up to say, hey, I really want to get these new shoes, but I don't want to pay anything over this price. Those we see as kind of being much more useful. Maybe something that interacts with your banking accounts. Maybe something that interacts with your social media accounts that brings all that information together, curates it, and says, okay, now Jordan, what would you like to do? Those we think are going to be very, very powerful and going. We also see the exact same thing that you're talking about, where consumers are getting more comfortable using these tools and giving more information to these tools to be more powerful. That we see speeding up. If you think about age demographics, is very clear. 18, 19, 20, up to sort of 25, 28, much more comfortable giving much more delegated authority, much more information. If you're 50, much like myself, maybe a little more cautious. And so as the population is coming into this, AI boom, you're going to see these changes change pretty dramatically. And again, very, very quickly.
Yeah. And when I think about the maybe ugly downside of AI assistants and how they can be used, not just, chasing down that $8, but for bad reasons and for bad purposes, right? I think in the position of a small business owner or, CEO of a large company like yourself, right? I think we always sometimes think about high tech, right? Fighting AI with AI. Are there also maybe low tech solutions? Like, I don't know, should, so many companies put up, oh, here's our executive team and their LinkedIn and their Twitter and their email, right? Like, should we also be like saying, okay, maybe we disconnect in some areas? Like, what's the solve?
No, you're 100% on the money. The reality is there's sometimes low tech solutions to high tech problems, and like for instance, scams. There's a lot of companies now who have gone to voice validation of dialbacks, where they have phone numbers that they know that are secure phone numbers, secure cell phones, and if you call in asking for anything, they hang up and they dial the secure number and then talk to you and say, okay, are you really the person that you have? You've got much more code words that we're seeing more and more in banking and treasury circles, where it's not, mother maiden name, it's not where you met your partner or whatever the case may be. It's something much more complex. And so we're seeing more and more of this kind of identity management solved by some of the low-tech problems, low-tech solutions for some of these high-tech problems that are coming out there. And hopefully that goes away. We expect at some point there will be a digital identification. I know that Sam Altman has kind of started that thought concept about how do I know who you are on the web. I think that'll start to come more and more, but that technology is in its infancy, and I suspect you'll see more of that over the next 12 to 24 months.
Are you still running in circles trying to figure out how to actually grow your business with AI? Maybe your company has been tinkering with large language models for a year or more, but can't really get traction to find ROI on Gen AI. Hey, this is Jordan Wilson, host of this very podcast. Companies like Adobe, Microsoft, and NVIDIA have partnered with us because they trust our expertise in educating the masses around generative AI to get ahead. And some of the most innovative companies in the country hire us to help with their AI strategy and to train hundreds of their employees on how to use Gen AI. So whether you're looking for ChatGPT training for thousands or just need help building your front-end AI strategy, you can partner with us too, just like some of the biggest companies in the world do. Go to youreverydayai.com/partner to get in contact with our team, or you can just click on the partner section of our website. We'll help you stop running in those AI circles and help get your team ahead and build a straight path to ROI on Gen AI.
Yeah, and I'm curious, even for yourself, right? you're the CEO of a very large multi-billion-dollar revenue company, one of the biggest in the world in your space. Are you out there, right, using AI assistants? And if so, how are you using them? And what maybe guardrails go through your mind, maybe when you're having them go do tasks for you?
Well, that's a great question. First of all, there's probably 1,000 of me pinging staff around the world all the time saying, can I get this? Can I get this? Can I get this? And the staff go, okay, this isn't Chris. For various reasons they know, because we've educated people so heavily on really understanding who's reaching out, why they're reaching out, and how to validate that. On the AI bot side, I use it fairly heavily. Like, I use it a significant amount for research, and I've learned that better prompting skills, better understanding of what you're getting at, and really having sort of some thought put into how you use it, you get significantly better results. So I'm using that significantly. I use it for time management. I'm using it for, making sure that things are getting booked and timed and done. I'm using it for call outs for things that I don't have time for, versus using an assistant for that. I can have it call a business and say, hey, set up this reservation, et cetera, if they're not on one of the platforms for booking. And I'm finding some really good uses. What I'm actually not finding good uses for is things that I think a lot of people think about, like summarizing emails, writing emails. 2 years ago, maybe, not even then, because it was just annoying, but now not at all. It's really about driving actions that I get the most value, and I'm pretty excited about seeing more and more stuff. Now, if I could find one or program one that would actually go to all the inboxes that every application has, bring it all together, that's a gold mine. So if any of your listeners have that or have a golden idea for that, totally in the market.
Oh, no. Yeah. I'll have to talk to you after this one, Chris. Yeah, that's kind of what I do. But one other thing that I think about when it comes to this duality of AI agents, right? And I think we're already seeing this. And when I talk about this, sometimes people look at me funny, and I'm like, no, it's already happening. I know it's happening, right? But kind of like, hey, I'll have my assistant talk to your assistant, right? Is that a thing? Are you seeing it? And is that maybe a good thing or a bad thing for companies, right? Yeah, if they have now all of a sudden, a company, let's just say Nike, right? I used to do a lot of work with Nike. They have hundreds of millions of customers, right? And now if someone's upset about their shoes and they send all these AI agents to, go find these people online and say, hey, this shoe was a ripoff, right? Like, should there just be agents talking to agents? Is that a bad idea for brands to look at?
That's the reality of what's going to happen. It's not completely baked there yet, but from strategic sessions that we have with clients, they really think about when there's an agent to agent conversation. At some point, it needs to almost become like a microservice where these two things aren't even speaking a language. They're sending bits and bytes back and forth and solving the problem. And then it's about making sure that on the client side, on the company side, brand side, that what it's doing and how it's transacting is getting the results it needs. And similarly on the consumer side, it's doing the same thing. We expect absolutely that will happen for a lot of the transactions, in coming years. That all being said, we still see a massive amount of work that a human is going to have to do. And that's around empathy. That's around, there's some conversations that you just want to have with the human, believe it or not. And that's not only an age demographic issue, it's just a humanitarian issue. And the reality is that AI will be in the background supporting those conversations or supporting those interactions, but absolutely transactional stuff will be kind of these agents talking to agents.
Yeah, and one of my thoughts for the future is, this will probably be on my 2026 AI prediction show coming up here, is companies marketing as human only. Right. Because I think that there's going to be a certain point, whether that's in, 6 months or 6 years, that we as humans get annoyed talking to AI, or we don't want to have, my AI assistant go talk to Chris's assistant. I was actually blown away the other day. I called up, I think it was like JetBlue Vacations, and like a human answered instantly. And I was like, this is crazy. Right. So how can big enterprises balance, right, the need to well, now we're getting, all these requests thrown at us. So we need to use a lot of AI because we can't keep up, but still have that human touch that really makes the customer experience, the customer journey special and memorable?
That's a great question. What we think it comes down to is your brand promise. So there are some brands based on how they interact, how they work with the market, that that brand promise will need to be delivered by a human. But this notion that people will pay more for humans or want to work with humans, we don't think is really the case. What we think is that, if something can be done frictionless with technology, people want to do that. If they want to interact with a human, they want to do that. There are some conversations that they want to interact with a human. And we absolutely believe that companies that understand this and appreciate this will do very, very well. But it's not one size fits all. We expect almost every brand to have this kind of digital channel of communication, plus a human channel of communication, and the right conversations going to the right place. And the brands that really get that kind of thought out and done well will frankly do well and take share. People can't go to the lowest common denominator. Your brand has to stand for something. How it works, how it engages, how it thinks about its customers, how it markets to those customers. And again, the ones that really understand that and get that well will do well. If you're just trying to put in AI to, be lowest cost, everything done a digital channel, we just don't think you're going to be that successful and stand out from the crowd at all when we look at customer sets.
All right. So, Chris, it's been a fun conversation today, kind of talking about this duality of the AI assistant. But, as we wrap up, what's your one most important takeaway, right? Because I know that this technology is coming faster than many business owners or decision makers may want it to. And it's here, it's not going anywhere. And there are huge upsides and kind of dark, ugly downsides. What's your one most important takeaway for people to be prepared to do this the right way for their customers?
The one takeaway we continue to tell the executives is use the technology. We're surprised still at how many people making decisions around this don't actually use the technology and don't understand the power of what it can do. And that's what we encourage all the time for people to do. Play around with it, use it, get subscriptions to it, get multiple subscriptions to different platforms, see what's good, what's bad. Get those wow moments for yourself. And then when you get the wow moments for yourself, it's much easier to translate that for your customers.
All right. Great piece of advice, Chris. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join the Everyday AI Show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
All right. And if you miss anything, it's going to be in our newsletter. So if you haven't already, please go to youreverydayai.com. We're going to be recapping all of the great insights that Chris just shared. So thank you for tuning in. Hope to see you back tomorrow and every day for more Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Everyday AI. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps keep us going. For a little more AI magic, visit youreverydayai.com and sign up to our daily newsletter so you don't get left behind. Go break some barriers, and we'll see you next time.